Now, you can forget about any improvement when it comes to the relentless green left bias at the ABC, where activist journalists regularly flout their charter, that is, flout the law of the land under the ABC Act, and promote their own ideological and political bias in their work. You know, and I know, that the ABC probably has been too far gone for a long time, but many people expressed hope after the appointment of the incoming chair, Kim Williams. I certainly wished him all the best, but didn't hold out a hell of a lot of hope. It'll take more than one person to turn this ship around. So here's what Williams said on a podcast just over a week ago, and just days after he took over as chair.
You know, if you don't want to reflect a view that aspires to impartiality, don't work at the ABC. I mean, I really think this is a very serious issue. This is a publicly funded organisation. It is a publicly accountable organisation. It is a respondent to legislation of the National Parliament, and it must always aspire to be as fair-minded in its work as it possibly can be.
Pretty strong stuff, right? And just what many people wanted to hear. Well, except for those people, I suppose, who are green left journos at the ABC. It even led to headlines like these, giving cause for optimism to taxpayers that the ABC might finally be accountable and make some strides towards objectivity. Well, I'm here to tell you that those hopes have already been dashed just days later. Any confidence that Williams would be the man to tackle bias were dashed this morning when he was interviewed on ABC Radio National Breakfast. First, he seemed to backtrack on his talk of a problem with impartiality and activist journalism.
Look, I'm not aware of how large an issue that is, or whether indeed it is a large issue.
Doesn't even know whether it's a problem, but it gets worse. Williams actually said, and I can't believe he ran this line, he said the ABC was not biased over The Voice. Now, as you know, as some of you are still grumpy about, I was a yes supporter on The Voice. So this is not about where you stand on The Voice. This is about assessing the ABC's performance on The Voice. And I find it hard to believe that anyone could have said what Williams said this morning.
Personally, I don't think that criticism was justified, and I believe the ABC strived consistently in its reportage of The Voice to reflect a variety of different viewpoints.
Now, this is extraordinary. If you can't see that the ABC was biased in favour of The Voice, then you will never see bias. At one point, the ABC even invited me on to Q&A for the first time in years, clearly because I supported The Voice. But as I told them on that show, it was terrible that they had a panel of 6 people there with no one opposed to The Voice. The ABC campaigned in favour of The Voice vigorously. That much is undeniable. Even the ABC's own internal assessment of its Voice coverage found that of all its reporting, 51% favoured yes and only 23% no, with the rest neutral. That's more than 2 to 1 in favour of the yes campaign. The same report showed that 82% of the complaints the ABC received about The Voice coverage were about bias, and 79% of those complained the ABC bias was pro-yes. So I'm sorry to tell you, if the new chair of the ABC believes the ABC was not biased on The Voice, then there is zero chance of Williams improving the ABC.